Hello, I'm Margarida Cardoso. I'm the director of the film Understory. I'm now in Lisbon in the half confinement. There is a lot of noises outside. I hope it doesn't disturb the sound. Um, what motivated me to do this film? So this film began with the desire of do a collection of 6 films uh, about the relation of man and plants and putting the plants in the center of the narrative. Me and the producer of this film, Luís Correia, we thought that it was urgent and important to create these filmic objects with a different approach of National Geographic. I don't have nothing against, but we thought that we could make more authorial and personal films, also create a form that could allow us to be very multidisciplinary, mixing history, science, ecology, philosophy in the same film. And with that, we thought that this could reach a different audience and also raise new questions and make people reflect in a more deeply way on these psychological and political questions and in our relation to nature. So the first of these films is this Understory. I choose the cocoa because cocoa is very related to the Portuguese colonial history that I have been working with in my previous films, and I feel very attracted by this thematic of colonial and post-colonial issues, and also because cocoa have on the production of chocolate have this kind of conflict that is there. Between north and south, if you can say, but between the production chain and the consumer's world. This is something that we know and that is common, that we heard in the news and on documentaries about slavery on the cocoa fields of Ivory Coast and all of these things, and this exists, and it's very sad, of course. But I thought that when I begin to research, I find such a richness in this understory, in this story under the chocolate, if you can say, so much, such personal stories with people, with names and places. And I thought that it was important to give a light to this shadow zone, not only on this folkloric and mediatic thing, slavery and everything. Well, what surprised me the most on this when I was doing the research is the quarantine of the plants. When the plants, I didn't know that, when plants travel from the centers of origin, for example, cocoa, and it travels from South America to Africa to Asia, have to do a period of 2 years of quarantine in England. So when I think about this quarantine, and since we are now in this pandemic, living this pandemic moment, of course that the film will make us think a lot about this, because scientists are very aware that since the globalization, when it starts, the globalization with the European expansion, and then when globalization become like now a kind of so strongly that is a kind of obscene movement of people and plants, we have to be very careful with these diseases, because diseases, virus, and whatever travel also with us. And of course, and I think that now we are in the verge of, we are in the limit of this greedy globalization, and we are suffering from these consequences. And the film makes us think a lot about this. companhia comercial.